So that was on the 17th of March. Then what happened is that we took the next week or so to shortlist more properties. And this was on the 26th of March. So 9 days later, this was arranged for viewings. We had 5 viewings. And again, there's more stories to this. You're going to laugh at the ridiculousness of what happened here. So let's go over to this one, Fairfield Street. This was a good deal. Offers over 60,000. I offered 64,300, I think, for this one. So I offered above asking. First of all, this is a nice property, and again, I'll play back some of the video footage that was taken of it. It's a nice property, and kitchen needs to be refurbed. The rooms are fine. The bathroom just needs to be cleaned up, and it's just a nice property, decent location. If you add this to your portfolio, you're not going to go wrong. So I wanted this one. And I offered first, I think it was £63,000. And it just so happened that my bid was the highest, and the agent accepted my offer. Let me see if I can bring that email out. Hang on a second. So what I did was that I negotiated a deal for £63,000. They accepted this. Right, now let's check this email out. There you go. Offer accepted paperwork. Congratulations on the acceptance of your offer. Further to our recent conversation, in order for me to be able to mark the property as sold, can you please provide all the documents? And that's fine. So they accepted my offer. That was 63,000. Then I got a phone call saying that now your offer is not accepted because someone else has gazumped you. They're offering more. Then I increased my offer to 64,300, and they rejected that. So my suspicion is that the next offer that came in was for 65,000. Now this came on the market on the 16th of March, and it got sold on the 29th of March. So I don't know how many days is that, 13 days, 12 days? This is how fast the market is moving. I'm trying to give you an idea as to how quickly properties are being sold. Fairfield, right, so that's done. Northern Road. There were 2 properties on Northern Road. Okay, this one and this one. I'm just going to briefly touch on this. When the guy who I work with went to view the properties, he's familiar with this area. He's been working in that area for a long time. He knows it like the back of his hand. What he said was this: he viewed these 2 properties on Northern Road. There were issues with both of them. But what he told me is that the road itself is not a good road. Apparently, opposite to where these houses are located used to be council estate, and it had a very bad reputation. And that reputation has kind of stuck, even though that council estate doesn't actually exist anymore. So even though the frontage looks actually quite nice, it looks attractive, but the issue was the road. For that reason, he just told me, don't bother getting any of these properties, just leave them. Don't bother putting any offers. Bear in mind that this guy owns a lettings company, and I told him that when I buy any of these properties, they'll be refurbished and then handed over to his company so he can rent them out. So what he said is that these are not ideal properties for his company to let out. So that was the reason why I didn't bother making any offers on this. Overdale Road. This was an interesting one. The viewing was done, and I ran the figures of this house through my spreadsheet. So this was Overdale Road. The asking price was 73,000. This is what an investor looks at. These are the numbers that an investor looks like. All investors should be looking at these numbers. So we've got 73,000 here. We've got a refurb budget of 23,000. and it'll value up to around 91,000, maybe slightly more. And the rental value will be about £520 a month. And based on all these figures, I was going to get a 12.2% return. And at that time, that's what I was aiming for, 12%. And that was for 66.3k. That was my offer. Now, later on, we would find out that it actually went for 78,000. So to give you an idea, if we were to put 78,000 into the spreadsheet, 78,000, you can see for yourself what's going to happen. And the return on investment drops to 8%, 8.5%. The money left in the deal is close to 40 grand, 39.359. Just isn't worth it. So this is why I say I think some investors might be just going in there, and I don't know if they know what they're doing. Either that, or they're getting caught up in the emotion, or maybe they're builders and they're going to basically do the work at cost price. I don't know. Imperial Avenue. Now this is a funny one. My plan was to joint venture with somebody for this property deal. And he really liked this property. And he said, I will go up to 80,000 on this one. So it's up for 75 grand. He said he wanted to pay 80. I said, okay, that's fine. Anyway, we viewed the property. It all checked out. It's a nice property, good location. Everything was good. Everything was good. It needs to be refurbed, of course. That's fine. It's part of the job. And it was up for 75 grand. Now, to give you an idea, Strike, the way that it works is the vendor, the seller, will actually list the property himself through Strike. There isn't technically an agent. All the negotiation, everything is done direct with vendor. So you have the phone number of the vendor, or you can message them directly. Okay, so this is excellent. We cut out the agent and we're going to make a deal with the vendor, and I'm going to push him, I'm going to bully him, I'm going to keep increasing my offer until he accepts. So the viewing was done. I messaged the owner. My offer for you is 75,000. Let's get this done. Okay, we're going to use a bridging finance. Solicitor is ready. Let's do this. He then calls me back later on that day saying that the property is now part of a divorce settlement. The ex-wife is laying claim to this property and now everything's up in the air. This property is not for sale now. So that was the end of this one. Okay, and by the way, my offer of 75,000 was the highest. He confirmed it. He said, yes, your offer is the highest, and if the property sale was to go through, I would sell to you. So this is a divorce settlement. And I've never come across that, by the way. I've never heard of the excuse that I can't sell to you because it's part of a divorce settlement. Never heard of that. And that was a real hot property. That's the one we actually wanted. So these properties were viewed on the 26th of March. Then what happened is, after all this nonsense happened, bear in mind, I told you about Fairfield Street, where we were the highest offer, and then the offer was accepted, then it was rejected, and then Imperial Avenue, the guy was getting divorced, even though our offer was the highest. Caused a lot of stress to me, a lot of sleepless nights, and I ended up getting ill over this damn thing. That day, I remember I hardly got any sleep. The next night I didn't get any sleep, and then I ended up with a fever the following day and the following day. So for 2 days I was ill. That was the stress that this whole nonsense had caused me. Then what happened is that I took a break. I said for 7 days I'm not going to do anything to do with property. I'm just going to recover, get my health back, get good sleep, and then we're going to go back in hard and let's see what we'll do. So I changed my strategy now. What we did is that previously we were looking for properties between 60 and 80,000 pounds, sort of that kind of price. What I now did was I increased my budget from the 60 to 80,000 pound mark up to 100,000 and maybe even beyond. So now we're going to be viewing more expensive properties. Now this change of strategy, It was calculated, it was planned, and there was a very good reason. Basically what was happening is that we were unsuccessful in buying any other property so far. We were getting the highest offer, but it was still getting rejected. So I thought, what we're going to do now, we're going to change our strategy. We're going to increase the budget, which we did. We went up to 100,000 and beyond. And also I lowered my return on investment. So the way that this works is that if you look at the spreadsheet, so you got this one here, let's say you got 86.5, your return on investment is 11.6, but as you increase the offer, your return on investment drops because you're putting more money in and all the other numbers are staying the same. So if I increase my offers to say 90,000, you'll see that my return on investment will drop from 11.6 down to 10.4. So what I was doing was decreasing my return on investment. That allowed me to increase my offer. So bear this in mind. So I've now changed my strategy. We viewed 3 properties. I'm going to do the top one last. Blackwell Close, and this property was viewed. It was decent, but although it was a nice property and it could have been refurbed, decent size, decent square footage, we felt that this property could give us problems in terms of letting out. This property is located in Billingham, and the way that it works is that one street people want to live in, and the street right next door to it people don't want to live in. And we felt was that this property could give us problems when letting out. So that's why we just didn't go ahead with this one. I didn't even put in an offer. The other one was Gillside Road. And this is a very, very nice street. Definitely worth buying. This was the number 2 property we were going for, and there's a number 1 property, by the way. So we'll talk about that later. This was the number 2 property. The street was very, very nice. Remember guys, you can't change the street, you can't change the location. You can refurb completely the property inside and make it look great, but the outside, can't do anything. So the most important thing is to buy on a nice street, and if you can do that, and you refurb the inside, that property will be let out quickly because people want to live there. Very nice street, Gillside Road, and it's the kind of road that well-to-do people would want to live in. You'll get good rent, etc. This property would let out for £600 easy, and you can see this is what the property looks like. This is what it looks like. Nice big rooms, nice garden, very big garden. In fact, this garden is actually big. The picture doesn't do it justice. It is a big garden, and again I'm going to roll some video footage on this. So this property was actually up for 95,000 at the time, and it's now been reduced. It's been reduced on the 26th. This property was up for £95,000, and I negotiated with this. Now the good thing was that this didn't have like 20 offers or something crazy like that. It had no decent offers. So I knew I could negotiate on this. And I negotiated with the agent, and we put the price down to 88,000, and they said that the vendor will accept this. But I told the agent that, look, I'm still negotiating on another property. If that does not pan out, I'm going for this. Meanwhile, the other property, which was here, you remember when I talked about Eastbourne Road? And I said that the first offer we ever made in this shopping trip was on Eastbourne Road. We returned to Eastbourne Road, and I'm going to show you some video footage of the property that we've gone for. I don't want to show you the Rightmove listing because then you guys will probably check and I don't know what will happen. So I'm just going to show you some video footage of what the property looks like inside. Now this property is a good property. It's in a fantastic location. If I could have chosen before we went shopping Where do I want the property we buy to be located? This is where it would be located. It's the perfect location. It's perfectly situated between the Amazon warehouse and the train station. It's got Asda nearby, huge town centre. It's in Darlington. They've got super high demand in terms of rent, super high demand in terms of sales. They've got government employees, civil servants now moving into Darlington. Teesside in general is getting like a free port status, so basically more jobs are going to be made available. It's just got too many things going for it. We returned to Eastbourne Road. We made an offer to the vendor. It was below asking price offer, but that's because the asking price was unrealistic. It was ridiculously high. I spoke to the agent and I explained that, look, you're asking for this price. There is no property of this specification selling for that price. So basically your price is unrealistic. Right? She said, whatever. I said, okay. So I said, look, I want this property. This is my number one property. I viewed other properties. Now the other property, if you remember, on Gillside Road, I told her about it. I said, look, I've got another property on the hook. I've already made an agreement on the price, but I have not formally put that offer through because I want your property. So we have to make a deal. I said, look, you're the agent. You know how to negotiate. I'm a buyer. I know how to negotiate. The vendors probably don't know how to do it. So between you and me, we've got to try and push this deal together. Let's make the deal and push it through. And there was a lot of toing and froing. There was a lot of phone calls. In total, the entire negotiation took about 30 hours. I used the fact that I had another property deal agreed on Gillside Road to force the agent to in turn pressure the vendor to agree to my deal quickly. I didn't want this negotiation to take days or weeks. I wanted to agree a deal as quickly as possible because I knew how quickly deals were being done in the Darlington area. So speed was very important. By having the property on Gillside Road on the hook and already having a deal agreed for $88,000, I used that property to ensure that the agent and vendor for Eastbourne Road did not attempt to push the price up. If they did try and push the price up, then I could always say, look, if we can't agree on this price, then I will just go and buy the other property on Gillside Road. So I used the property on Gillside Road as a bargaining chip to get the best price for the property on Eastbourne Road. In total, I would say I made about 10 calls during the course of the 2 days, and this was to show the agent that this deal needed to be completed quickly and that I was very keen to get the deal done. It also kept the pressure on the agent to keep in contact with the vendor so that they could make a decision quickly. I couldn't take the risk of allowing the Eastbourne Road negotiations to take days or even weeks, because that would mean that I might miss out on the property on Gillside Road. So speed was very, very important throughout this negotiation. My offer went in, it was below asking. The agent came back and said, look, this is really what they're looking for. I said, I can't do that. But I came real close to what they wanted. I think I was off by £1,500 basically. I said, look, this is a good price. There is no other property in this area with this specification that is selling for that price that I've just offered you. The next episode, part 3, will conclude the negotiation for the properties on Eastbourne Road and Gillside Road. I can tell you that I did get one of them, but which property do you think I managed to secure a deal for? Eastbourne or Gillside? Answers in the comments section. And so that you don't miss the next part, please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel, making sure that you click the bell icon as well so that you'll get an automatic notification on when the next episode is uploaded.